Further analysis on this, let's bring in Mehmet Çelik. He is the Daily Sabah editorial coordinator, and he joins me now live from Istanbul. Mehmet, great to have you. Great to see you. So, I was in Hatay 2 weeks after the devastating earthquakes, and I remember telling myself at the time that I have never seen something like this before. Almost everything around me at the time was turned into rubble. And today, when the president was addressing the people of Hatay, I believe his team was playing videos of how things have changed over the course of the last 2 years. And I have to say it was really heartwarming to see the progress that has been made. We're talking more than 450,000 houses that are being delivered to these earthquake victims. And what's more important, I believe, is the fact that all of this happened at such a fast pace. I think it's fair to say this is something that I was discussing with my editor before coming to the studios. I think this is unprecedented in terms of the speed at which everything happened.
Well, Jafar, I mean, to put it in perspective, the area affected, 13 million people were affected. That size is bigger than many of the European countries, even some of them combined. That much people were affected. The size and the amount of people affected was vast. And to put in perspective, some of the cities were basically brought to rubble. They had to be rebuilt. Not only, the cities were not only being built in terms of just separate units or buildings, but their infrastructure was also damaged. Some of the cities had to be literally relocated to other areas. But I think, yes, this is material reconstruction. But I think what is also significant is that in the amount since February 6, 2023, in terms of people's morale and that psychological repair, as I think and the morale, that is something that is very important, and that has been, I think, relatively rebuilt. The people are able to see what is actually being built in terms of material reconstruction, in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of their shops, historical areas, the buildings that they live in, their streets. New cities are being rebuilt. To put it in perspective, more than 200,000 architects are working in these construction sites. So this project that is running 24/7 and in a very fast speed, I think it has enabled people to look at their future in a more positive way, despite the fact that, of course, we have lost more than 50,000 people, and we have lost, so much material damage that took place in those provinces. But the speed of the reconstruction, the effort that is being put in these cities, I think it has brought that repair that was needed in terms of people's healing and people's psychological trauma that they were facing. So from that perspective, this is not just rebuilding cities, rebuilding buildings, but you're rebuilding a region, not only in terms of infrastructure, but in terms of people's hope to look at future in a more positive way.
Right. And Mehmet, very quickly, in terms of complete rebuilding, not just material rebuilding, but of course the healing process that you talked about in your answer there. I mean, how long do you think that would take? Because as you said, more than 50,000 people killed, but certainly what happened today, the delivery of more than 450,000 houses to earthquake victims is a major morale booster for earthquake victims. But I mean, I don't know if you have an answer to this question, but since you are Turkish, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that wound will always be there for each person that lost some of the loved ones. That trauma will be there. It is not going to be something that will be fixed or completely erased just by offering them a new life in terms of material constructions. But each person that lost life, they had a story. These weren't just 50,000 statistics. So I think, yes, those who are left behind are able to move on to their daily lives, especially with the reconstruction process. But to say that, how long it will take to really heal the wounds, it is no one's place to answer this question. Each individual person affected by this earthquake will have a different answer to this, because each one of them have lost somebody that they were very important in their lives. And to replace somebody from your family, from your loved ones, it is not possible to do that. So that healing process will take perhaps decades for each individual. But what the state is planning to do, what the state has tried to do to at least reconstruct the city's infrastructure, to reconstruct material losses so that it can be easier for people to transition to their normal lives.
Very well said. Fascinating insights. Mehmet Çelik, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much for joining me here on
Thank you,
TRT World.
Jafar. Thank you.